Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this Montessori Parenting Conference. Here with Zahra Kassam from Monti Kids, and it's very, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to going to chat with you and to have you here with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
So for those who don't know you, because basically we are big majority of the people on this conference come from the UK, where I am based. So we don't have Monti Kids here, but many people do know you because we also have many people from the United States. And so if you could introduce yourself and Monti Kids and, who you are, and yourself and your family and everything else.
Sure. So my name is Zahra Kassam. I have always, I guess I'll take you back to, a little bit of my background. So I've always wanted to be a teacher since I was 10 years old. So I studied child development at Harvard. I did my master's at the Harvard School of Education and then became a certified internationally trained Montessori teacher through AMI for birth through 6. And then I was teaching in Montessori preschool and I loved it. And I thought I would spend my whole life in the classroom, my whole career. And then my baby was born. So I have a 6-year-old son, Musa, and I have another new baby who just turned 1, and his name is Zaid. And when Musa was born, I was teaching in the classroom, and the school where I was working started at age 3. Like most Montessori schools, most preschools in general. And I was, having done all the studies, when my background, I just didn't want to wait that long to give him a rich learning environment, obviously. So I was hacking together a version of Monti Kids at home, trying to follow my training, finding it very challenging. It was hard to find really good Montessori materials for 0 to 3 that were safe, high quality, and in general, I was also overwhelmed with motherhood, with sleep and nursing and diapers and the whole thing. I felt like I was always behind. Like they're developing so fast at that age, and I would set out his environment and finally feel like, okay, now I got it, and he'd move on to something else, and then I was always trying to catch up. So I was struggling, and on my maternity leave, I was teaching at a community center, baby and me classes for new parents, not a Montessori community center, just for new parents, helping them understand child development. And all these parents were coming, and they felt anxious, I think, because they know how important that 0 to 3 period is, but what is a 9-month-old supposed to be playing with? And that really inspired me and got me fired up, because birth to 3, as so many of us know, is so critical. I mean, researchers know 85% of the brain is formed by 3. It's literally the foundation for all future learning. But children are not in school mostly, and parents are just left, guessing, and they're anxious and they don't have enough support. So that's what inspired me to start Monti Kids. Would you like me to describe it?
Well, you kind of answered like all the 3 next questions in one go. But yeah, that's basically that's your story, right? You're totally into Monti Kids right now because it has become your main job, right? I don't think you went back to the classroom, did you?
I did not go back to the classroom after that. I mean, I was working still, after my maternity leave, I went back to the school, and I was trying to, build Monti Kids on the side kind of slowly. And then it just became my passion. I left the school. I've been working on Monti Kids. So we launched just 2 years ago, March 2017, but we were in development for 3 years before that. Because we're the only, and I should, kind of just describe what we do, but we're the only company that makes the full line of 0 to 3 Montessori materials safe for children under 3. And when we started, a lot of people told us, the safety testing companies told us it was impossible to do that. So we spent 3 years figuring it out. And so what we do is, we start from newborn with the mobiles, and we send materials to the home every 3 months. Families get a delivery, and along with the materials, they have videos that we send to their email every week or every other week that show them how to use it, how to present it to their baby, when is the right time, the research behind it, how to set up their play area at each stage, and then they get support from our Montessori experts. So they can have personalized interactions with them.
Yeah, I totally remember, when you probably set up the Facebook page for Monti Kids, and it was like coming soon, and nobody knew what it was, what was coming soon. I totally remember, and it was probably very exciting. And what is even more exciting, so for those in the UK, we absolutely don't know what it is, or maybe it's just me, but I did say, I don't know what is Shark Tank, so just tell me more about that. And it's an achievement, as a Montessori teacher, to bring the Montessori ideas out there to a general public, so to more people. Oh, is it, it's a great achievement. So just tell me more about that.
Thank you. So it's very exciting. Tomorrow we are going to be on a national TV show in the US, and I think it's broadcast in several other countries. It's called Shark Tank, and it's basically it's a show where entrepreneurs go and present their new business to a panel of judges, and the judges are all these investors who have built, very successful businesses themselves. And so basically, I am going to be doing that. It's called the Shark Tank because it's very dramatic, and the investors get quite intense and sometimes a little bit intimidating. So it's a very nerve-wracking experience, and a lot of people ask me, why would you subject yourself to that on national TV? I think more than 4 million people watch. And the reason I did is because I just want to talk about Montessori and what education means for babies. I just want more and more people to know about it. So that's the reason I did it. And it's pretty amazing because 40,000 people try out every season with their businesses, and less than 100 get selected. I think 88 got selected for this season. So it's pretty amazing that Monti Kids was chosen, and that we get to talk about all these important things.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm very nervous because it was.
Well, you have to let us know when it's aired, like that. We try our best to watch it and support you.
Yeah, it's airing January 27th, so that's tomorrow. But then you can always go back and watch it online later.
Okay, great, brilliant. So since you have launched your own line of toys, you have used them with your second one, right? So did you find it easier, now that you have your own subscription, to prepare the environment for Musa? Musa is your second one, right?
No, Musa is my first. He's 6.
Sorry.
That's okay. Zaid is our baby.
And did you find it easier for Zaid to set up the environment now that you have access to all the toys yourself, or was it the second time around, basically?
Yes, it is so much easier with Zaid because we have Monti Kids. And I'm even busier now because I'm working on this, and it takes a lot of my time. Plus I have Musa, and I'm busier than I was the first time. And I am so grateful that I just have all the materials right when I need them. And even being trained, I'm very grateful for the videos because they come to my email and it's like, oh, it's time to introduce something new. And of course you have to use your observation to see, okay, is he really ready for that? Or you introduce it and you observe, well, is this working well? But to have that reminder and the support and all the materials, and to know that they're safe and I don't have to worry, it's so helpful. And also we have a nanny at home because I'm working, and so she gets to watch the videos and learn and play with him in a way that that we're all on the same page. So that's really nice.
Yeah, and I think that's the main point of Monti Kids. It's like you kind of, because that kind of materials existed before, it's like if you take the brand Linguist, they have similar materials, right? But you have made them, safer because they are a tiny bit bigger from what I've seen. And so, very safe. So it can be used even if you're not just next to your child, basically. That make a big difference. It's not considered, because I think the other materials, like Linguist materials, is considered as an educational material that has to be done under supervision, right? That's the main difference.
When we started, I did not actually want to manufacture our own materials because I'm a teacher. I had no interest in being a toy manufacturer. I wanted to take what was out there and put videos and, package it together. So we ordered every sample that from any company that makes Montessori materials, and found out that, like you said, they're not certified safe for children under 3 according to the toy safety standards. So we could not send those into the home. And then nobody else makes the full line from, starting with mobiles and rattles and like every single thing that's in our teacher training albums when we get a Montessori teacher training. Nobody is making everything. So there were so many things, even if you order some things from different places, teachers are still, before Monti Kids, they were still like making things themselves, going to thrift stores, putting things together. It just was not easy. And so I think that's the big difference. We make everything is safe. It comes when you need it. We deliver in like 7 to 10 business days, and it's usually quicker than that. And some of these other places, I remember as a material, I ordered some materials for Musa when he was a baby, and by the time they arrived, he had outgrown them. I was like, this is not going to work. So I think it's much easier for me now with Zaid. I'm very grateful for the service.
In just going, how do you balance, their 2 different needs? They're very different needs. So how do you balance that? Because it's a kind of difficulty that many parents talked about, like when they have siblings. It's not like in the classroom when you're going to have all the children between 0 to 3, so in the same planes, or all 3 to 6 in the same plane as well. At home, it's a bit different, when they're both in 2 different planes with 2 different needs, with one who still put everything into his mouth and the other who wants to have Legos, I suppose. How do you do that as a mother?
Yeah, I actually, I don't have, I only have a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. I don't know what it's like to have children in the home at that, like, who are very, very close in age, but I don't think it's super challenging. I think it might be easier, actually. It works well for us because, they have 2 different play areas. Zaid's play area, the baby, it's in the living room, in the family room, which I always recommend families do, set it up where the family spends the most time. So his area is there. Musa, all of his stuff is now in his room. And we just close the door because you're right, he has little tiny Legos and all sorts of things, marbles that are not safe for Zaid. And, Musa is old enough, he's 6, that he can bring, an activity into the living room and do it and spend time with us, and then go put it away and back into his room. So that works well. And Musa's very independent. He has his school, he has his activities. His bedtime is later than Zaid, so I can I can spend time with Zaid, put him to bed, be done, and then move on to Musa. I find it actually works really well. Musa's also old enough to help. He watches some of the Monti Kids videos with me, and then helps me present toys to Zaid, which is helpful and the reason I started doing that is because I noticed Musa would start playing catch with some of the balls that come with the materials with the baby, and was just kind of not using them in the right way and not modeling them in the right way. So now I involve him in Zaid's kind of Montessori learning, and that really works well because he's old enough to do it. So yeah.
Because we are just in the room when you have all the materials, would you like to show us some of the materials? I didn't plan that, but I know they're just behind you, so that would be great.
Sure, they are behind me. 1 second. So this is some of the work. Sure, you recognize some of it. Oh, that's my sweater. And then there's more on the other side. So we have, I don't know if you can see well, there's mystery bags hanging on the wall. And here's the little, oh my gosh, baking set, dining set, and more materials. So we have everything out in this room, but my computer is plugged in.
No, that's great. Don't worry. That's give us a good view of what you offer. I like that. Yeah. I really like that. Yeah. So what would be, your best tip for parents when they want to learn about Montessori? They're just starting, what do you tell them?
I tell them, so this is something that I learned from my Montessori trainer, Chacha. She, when we were taking our training course, there were people in our class that were already parents. And a lot of, when you start learning about Montessori and you've been a parent already and you've already been doing things with your baby, so often when parents start learning about Montessori and they've already been parenting in a different way, they start to feel very guilty, like, oh, I've been doing that wrong and I did this other thing wrong. And now, I think that just being kind to yourself, forgiving yourself, understanding that children are very adaptable, especially, at this young age. They really will adapt to something new if you change it. And then to really not be hard on yourself, because everybody is doing the best they can with the knowledge they have. And we show so much love and kindness to our children, but we're often very hard on ourselves. So to show some of that love to yourself as well.
And and as you say, we cannot do something that we don't know. So when we first become parents, we are clueless. And, it's not the kind of information that you were going to be given, by the staff at the hospital or by your GP. It's not the kind of things that they're going to transmit. They are there for the medical aspect. So generally that's what you are aware of, just to be mindful of your child's weight and if he does, the nappies he has to do, and just the health-wise, we are made aware of when children are born. But the child development is not something that we are aware of. Unless, we go in the field before we have our children. And even so, I don't think we're not more prepared to motherhood. As you say, you were a bit lost as a first time mom because, it's not the same as being a teacher, right?
Yeah. And even once you start learning about Montessori or you already know it, it might get even worse that we're harder on ourselves, because now we're like, well, now I know and I'm still making mistakes, or I still did that thing that I shouldn't have done, or I'm behind, and that I always say Montessori does not have to be done perfectly to be done well, and your children will learn how to be flexible, and that we're all human, and they'll learn to be kind to themselves if you're being kind to yourself. So that's my number one tip.
And obviously you have created an amazing product, but I can read sometime on groups and so on, people will say, well, I cannot afford that. And so indeed they will feel guilty because they cannot buy all the materials, but we can also do Montessori without the materials, having the possibility to have the materials, being able to afford that, and great, go for it. But, you can provide a treasure basket with stuff from all around the house. And as we say, they play more with the packaging than with the toy, no matter the toys, And so, it's okay as well. Obviously, you have created an amazing product, and, I wish that all parents can have it. But, we have to reassure the parents who are listening and we say, oh, but I cannot afford the subscription. That's fine. The children will do okay as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you can make a lot of these things. I mean, that's what I was doing with my first baby.
Of course,
for the things I couldn't find, I was making mobiles at home. I was even just simple things like, a oatmeal box, and you punch some holes in it, and you can put straws or pasta, for fine motor coordination. I mean, there's so many things you can do yourself at home that don't have to be expensive and that work. If you don't want to go out and buy a bunch of materials. And it's about more than materials. I mean, preparing the environment is a hugely important part of Montessori, giving children access to a rich environment. But then there's all the stuff that's not necessarily, you can't see. There's, that deep respect for them finding their own path and following their interests and, allowing them to be self-directed in their learning. There's all of that that's a huge part of Montessori. And I recommend always that parents read at least one book by Maria Montessori, if not more, because it's fun to go online and learn about all these things from, there's great bloggers and there's great resources, and but reading about it from her words, if you read one of her books, you get the soul of it. It's not just about what you can see with your eyes.
Absolutely. So which one would you recommend to read if we have to choose one?
I think The Absorbent Mind is a great one.
Yeah. I think that's the easiest one, for all parents to read and to start with. That's the one that says the most about the child development. So yeah, absolutely. And no, she AMI has published Montessori Speaks to Parents. That is a one that is very interesting as well for parents. That one I like to recommend as well. So talking about Maria Montessori herself, I did ask if you would share one Montessori quote with us. So I hope you had time to prepare one.
Love is the most potent.
That's my favorite one as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it all comes down to love. That's why we're all here, talking about this, because we have so much love for our children. I talked earlier about loving yourself. That's so important to model for our children. That's how the method came to be, from a deep place of love. That's what allowed her to observe children for hours on end and figure out what their needs were and how to meet their needs. And then, my trainer Chacha talks about how love is not just when we think about cute little kids and squeezing their cheeks, and it's a deep respect for the child. And I think that's why that's my favorite quote. Why is it your favorite quote?
That's one. Why is it? Because it's in that book, The Absorbent Mind, and that reminds me, the fact that, she went through the 2 world wars, and she had that deep conviction that if we were raising our children differently, we would change the world. And what unite us as a species was the love for that child. So I think that's amazing the way she says it. And obviously we know that little extract from the quote, love is the most potent. But when you go and back to that chapter and you read all the rest of it, it's just very good. Yeah, it's a very good one.
About how, when the child is working in the environment, and it's so beautiful to see children working in a Montessori environment. If your listeners haven't seen that, I highly recommend just visiting a school or looking up some videos online. But there's another quote where she says that work of the child is their love for the environment made visible. That's how you know they love it, is because they're concentrating and they're into it. And so even, their work is coming from that same place, and it's all just connected.
So another question that I have for you, and as you said, Zane, it's just 1 year old, you're very busy with the business, so it must be hard to balancing, family life, the business, and all the other commitments we have, like Shark Tank. And so do you have any advice, for the parents who are listening? I'm very keen that parents take care of themselves. I remember being a young mom. My eldest is 11 now, and sacrificing myself and not taking care of me because I was breastfeeding, co-sleeping, and baby rearing, and focusing on my children so much that I feel that I went out of those early years totally dazzled and whoa, who I am, by the way, after those early years. And then I was able to have some self-care when I was with them. I didn't really identify that as being my self-care, and then later on coming back to who I was. And no, I'm very keen that parents should understand that it's possible, to take care of yourself and when our children are little. So I don't know if you have any tips for that. If you have your own self-care routine, whatever helps you, to go through and to be the best parent you can be.
Yeah, I love that you're emphasizing this because I always think of that, when you're on the airplane and they tell you to put your own oxygen mask before you put your child's. It's like that. We definitely we cannot give all that love and that care if we're not filled up with that ourselves. So it's something I struggle with. Like you said, life is very busy, but I really like to go dancing. I have a dance studio. It's like my workout studio, but it's all just dance. And it's all women, and it's this amazing community of other mothers. And there's teenage girls through grandmothers, and we're all just supporting each other. So that's a big part of it too. For me, being in community, but going there and dancing and forgetting about everything for 1 hour, and just, it honestly helps me work through my day just through that movement. So sometimes I'm like dancing and I'm crying and I'm just getting it all out. But I feel so much better. Like I am a way better parent if I go dancing. And it's hard to squeeze it in, but I go 2 times a week. I'd love to go every day, but I go 2 times a week. I leave work like a little bit early and I get there so that I can still make it for bedtime and all that. I've had to play around with it. So, because if I was going after work and missing bedtime, I would feel way too guilty and sad. So just, trial and error, figure out what works for you. I think that for me, that is kind of what keeps me grounded.
Yeah, having a safe place when you can release, right? Release all the emotions and everything. Yes, that's a good point. Absolutely. And that, whatever works for you, that could be dance for one and bath for another, and, going out with friends. You need to find out what makes you, basically. And it has nothing to do with Montessori, with motherhood. It's something, deeply personal, and we cannot forget that. We cannot forget that we are someone and not just a mother.
Absolutely. I think I love what you said. What makes you? Like, I feel like myself when I'm there. And then I'm the best version of myself with my kids and with even at work. I mean, I think my teammates can tell if I've skipped my dance class, for 2 weeks. They're like, oh, we know what's going on.
So you're going to build you a dance studio in the office then.
Honestly, sometimes I'll just put in my headphones and dance in my office because I just need to. I think do what works for you and take it in small doses. If you don't have time to go, out and do it for an hour, just do it for 5 minutes in your room, whatever it is.
Yeah, you can dance with your own children as well. That's something I've done a lot with the children when they were little. When the day was a bit difficult, and so I was putting my own music, the music I liked. And dancing with them. So they were used to my own kind of music because, when you listen to nursery rhymes all day long, at some point, it's not your taste anymore. So we use my own music. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was great. It was great tips. And you went through all the questions so fast.
Oh, wow. Are we done?
Well, I like it. You're very used to explain you Monti Kids business. I really love the Monti Kids box. So I'm really impressed with what you have achieved. And I know that it's so helpful for so many parents. I was wondering as well, do you sell directly to the school? Because obviously that materials is useful just for the schools as well, for the nurseries and the Montessori infant community. So do you sell directly that way?
Yeah, a lot of schools use Monti Kids. It's amazing. A lot of schools write to us and they say, we've never had an infant community before because we couldn't find all the materials easily. Like I said, people had to go make things and all of that. And so now a lot of schools are opening classrooms for 0 to 3-year-olds and using our materials. So that's lovely. I also really get excited because family daycares, like, the auntie who wants 6 kids in her living room but doesn't have training, can use materials and can use our videos because these are people who would never be able to afford to take a year and go for Montessori training. That's really lovely that they're able to improve the quality of their daycares. Yeah, we work with a lot of schools, and we are working hard to expand to the UK. Right now, we have families in the UK using Monti Kids. They'll order through third-party shippers, or they'll come here and they'll pick it up. People are really working hard to like get it wherever they are, but we're working. We're trying to expand as fast as possible. Yeah.
Good. Well, you have to become like wholesale or something like that.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I think I can see you are like a big news catalogs in your own way.
One step at a time.
Yeah. But it's an amazing business and it's an amazing story. And yeah, what you do to bring more Montessori in all children's lives is great. So thank you so much for being here with me today.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.